This is Rebel Studio with Nathan Ball. I just want to show everyone, you get you one of these lamps. You get them at Walmart, $10, a little over with tax, nearly $11. And you get 2 grow lights, and it's about the same price. These are tomato plants. We're growing tomatoes outside. And I still got a couple little ones on one. I don't know. They're not falling off. And they've been on there since I transplanted it in a pot. These ones, except for maybe that one, the rest grow cherry tomatoes, which are small like that, like those right there. And I got and right back here, I got a spinach plant. It's growing tall. To get them to not grow tall, you got to have the plant about 4 inches from the light. So when it comes up, it's automatically hitting that light, the warmth from it, and so it stunts it for a moment. You don't leave it under there for about longer than a month, because you do want them to grow up a little bit. And after a month, you just take them down from the light about a foot, maybe 2 foot at most, and then it should be all right. I'm still testing things. This is my green bean plant. I got 3 green beans back in here. If you can see them, got one right here, and one right here, and then one in the back. And I got another one growing now, starting to grow right back here. You can see that little white dot. And I got 2 celery. They're from cuttings. I broke off all the ones that was on the outside all the way to the ones in the middle that are real small. And this one, it turned out pretty good. It's growing. It's taller than my last one that I tried. It eventually died. It's dark green. I use a little bit of cow manure with both of them. That one's real dark green. It's been kind of growing. It's starting to take off. And I didn't do the same with this. I didn't take this big one off and just left the others over here, which I probably should have done, but it's doing all right. It's dark. I ain't never seen lettuce that dark before. Only about that color, about that dark. And my onions are from cuttings, not seeds. And they're doing all right under it. But for certain plants, like I had to brace it up. I had to build a mound because it keeps falling over because it's too tall. It's not supposed to grow that tall. It's supposed to grow up about 3 inches and then just spread out, or 4 inches and then spread out. But it's easy. You can go to somebody who's got a tomato plant and pick the top off, a decent amount. You can even get one, a small. This one, it's grown some. It was way down here, and it just did this within a few days after I chopped these longer leaves off, as they were kind of wanting to die. It was killing them off, and then it just shot up. But tomato plants, they'll grow their own roots when you cut them off. This one, I could cut it off right here, cut this leaf off, cut this leaf and this leaf off, and plant the rest of that, even though it wouldn't be much down in the soil, and it would grow roots, or cut it down here right above the bin, and then cut all this excess off, or bury it. You can cut the bigger leaves off, you bury the little ones, and it'll just grow roots off of them and set, and Then you can do this indoors during the winter. As long as you keep your house above 70 degrees, you can grow anything. You know, you can grow green bean plants, and these are stringless pollis. You know, they grow a little taller than this. They grow to about 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet tall. And they'll produce quite a bit of green beans. But you want a few plants if there's a few of y'all. And I got a couple more back in here, right above my finger, you know, behind that leaf. You know, a couple more green beans that'll be growing. You know, when they flower out, all you gotta do is just barely tap it. You don't want to do too much because they fall off. You know, they're brittle. You know, they're not like these. Same thing with these. When you want to pollinate a flower, when it opens up, you just flick it a little bit, and it'll pollinate. It gets the pollen to fall inside of it, you know, around, and in case you don't have flies and, you know, in your house, or gnats, or, you know, any flying insects, you know, going through it and getting what it needs, you know, feeding itself. Because bees aren't the only things that'll pollinate plants. You know, we can get them pollinated. It's just, you know, we got to do it. We got to take the time out of our lives to do it in order to keep the food growing. You know, but I'm going to leave it with that. They're all doing great. And there's a side view of them. You know, they're just doing awesome. You know, it's easy. It's not as hard as you think. You know, if you get a little cow manure and you put you some soil in the bottom of it, up so far for your cuttings, because you know you can get them started in a bag. You make sure that it's sitting there up at top. You know where the tops will come out, and you have your roots at the bottom of it. You know, and you have it in a corner bag, and you stick it in a light, and, you know, keep it propped up so it's got that water in it, you know, on the roots. And just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. When you see it growing, plant them. You know, I got one over here that I just planted. He's growing crooked because I had it in a bag, and it laid over to where this was growing up, but now it's growing to the side. But it'll straighten itself out, you know. And I just planted that one. I didn't put any manure in it. I should have, but you put, you know, so you have some soil up at top, you know, on the bottom, you know, first, you know, when you put your soil on the bottom first, up about 3 inches, 4 at most, and a little bit of cow manure on the bottom, and then the rest soil, and you plant in the soil and cover up the roots, and they'll get going. The roots will get growing, and as soon as it hits that manure and all the manure that's in the soil in the bottom, because it'll soak down into the soil also, because you don't, you know. And you'll eventually get to where when the roots are long enough, you don't have to water them from the top. You can just put some water in the bottom of the container. These small things, you only need about an inch of water because you got this smaller one, and it'll completely soak up with water. But they've been doing fine. Soil's been staying damp. You know, ain't been soaked the hell out of. These, I kind of had them soaked real good. But eventually they'll have roots, and enough roots, and then you won't need to, you know, water them so much. I mean, if you get them started as a seed and you keep the soil soaked, you know, I believe they can handle it because they're already growing in it. You're not overwatering them later, and then they can't handle it, and the leaves turn yellow, and then they die. When the leaves turn yellow, take them out the water, set them, aside somewhere, and let them dry out. For for 4 days, or a week, because you get that soil too wet, and the plants aren't used to it. They didn't grow in it like that. They're not gonna be able to handle it. There may be some that can anyways, but like potatoes, they can kind of handle it and everything. But if they're soaked and they stay soaking wet, they'll get soft. They'll rot. Potatoes like water. They do love water. You get soil that drains quick and it doesn't just hold water. They'll be fine. As long as it's not just sitting there drenched in water. They love water. Potatoes have water inside of them. When you cut them open, that knife is wet. You can see they're wet. Anything that, wet in the middle, got to have, a decent amount of water. If you're not in a hot climate, you can get away with water once a week. They'll be fine once a week. And you can tell anyways by the way they react. If the leaves are drooping, they're just hanging downward, then you need to water them. Or they start kind of drying out, you need to water it. And then you'll know about how often to water it. And it's a process. It may seem like it's a lot of work, but it's really not. I got into it. My dad got to growing these outside, and bell pepper plants and banana pepper plants, and they did great. Watermelon plants, they didn't do too good. He had planted them all a little too close together, or quite a bit too close together, and it wasn't. And he didn't use tomato cages, which is why some of these are bent and all out of whack instead of growing straight up. This one's growing. It's all. I've got these intertwined kind of, but they're taking off. They're doing good. And I use a foil because it helps with more light and gets light, where it needs to be, up under here on the sides, and they're doing great. I mean, look at all the stems on that, I should chop one off. You only want one, you don't want two. I mean, it'll be an all right onion. It's just you'll have two sections as one. Like you see how it's wrapped. How it looks wrapped right there. That's the way it'd be. It'd be like two onions in one. And you want one that onion and it's round, just round like a bulb. And when you cut it, but everybody to their own. I mean, everybody likes onions and other things, different ways. You like them to grow like that, because you like the way they are when you cut them up. That's your choice. You have every right to grow your plants however you want, and learn, and be educated, and know you can take care of yourself. You'll be more proud of yourself and less depressed when you start doing this. You start paying attention to these things. You're taking care of them, and you see they're growing things that you can, eat. You can make, all kinds of sauces. That marinara sauce, which is dipping sauce that you get from pizza places. You make your own pizza and you have the crust, or you dip your own pizza in it. You have your own. You make it your own way. Make it taste your own way. Same thing with spaghetti sauce and pizza sauce, and and you need celery and spinach. You chop it up and it's fine, or clip them off, let them dry out, and you can sprinkle that, put it in your marinara sauce and your pizza sauce and your spaghetti sauce, and even salsa. You can make your own salsa, make it taste however you want, to the way you like it. You can have it thick, you can have it chunky, thick, or thin, chunky, or just thin, and no chunks. You can have it like a thick sauce. Still tastes like salsa. You can find videos on YouTube, even of they're pure Mexicans. They'll, put their recipe on the internet how they make theirs. Salsa's made different ways and it's different colors. There's not no one color like they have at the restaurants. There's all different ways you can make it. If it's green, that's because it more than likely has avocados in it. And you can't taste the avocado. You go, ew, avocados, you can't taste it. All you taste is the flavor of the salsa because of the bell peppers and the banana peppers and the jalapeno peppers. The flavor of those take over the flavor of the tomatoes and everything else you put in. Put cilantro in it, parsley, a lot of stuff, As long as you don't put other stuff that's real strong in it, and have it, make it as spicy as you want to, add a little cayenne pepper in it until when you take a good chunk and then you start to feel your tongue, burning a little bit. If you don't want a lot, about a tablespoon is all you need, unless you're using 3 pounds of tomatoes. If you're using 3 to 4 pounds of tomatoes, you might want to put, 1.5 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. If you want a little bit of a bite, not much. You don't want your mouth on fire. But if you want your mouth on fire, 3 tablespoons, your mouth will be on fire. 4 if you really like it on fire. But I'm going to leave it at this. This is Nathan Ball with Rebel Studio. You all take care.